The Sukhoi Su-35 is the top Russian air superiority fighter in service today. It will remain so until Russia succeeds in bringing its fifth-generation Su-57 stealth fighter into serial production. The Su-35 is an evolution of the Su-27 flanker, a late Cold War design intended to match the F-15 in concept. In January 2016, Russia made the first combat deployment of the Su-35 when it sent a fleet of 4 aircraft to Syria. It was earlier thought that the platform would be lapped up by other nations. But Russia, which is greatly dependent on weapons export and is also keeping no stones unturned to pitch Su-35, is unable to find buyers. This is mainly due to the technological shortcomings as well as American sanctions. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why 3 countries have backed out on Su-35 fighter deals. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. Egypt, which ordered a fleet of Su-35s for $2 billion in 2018, has reversed its decision to acquire at least 24 of these fighters. It seems Cairo is backed out of the deal due to the fear of countering America's adversaries through Sanctions Act, CATSA, which obligates the imposition of U.S. sanctions against any country that makes large arms acquisitions from Russian defense companies. But there's more to the story. The military aviation author, historian, and journalist Tom Cooper believes it's a combination of factors. Cooper noted that the Egyptians already swallowed a bitter pill when they previously sought the Su-30 but got the MiG-29 M2 instead. He stated, "The Russians promised to re-equip the latter with active electronically scanned array or AESA radars, but years have passed and nothing happened." He added, "They ordered Su-35s only to find out this is equipped with passive electronically scanned array or PESA radar, and they would have to wait for years and pay even more for the Russians to develop a suitable AESA radar. On top of this, they then ran a test, apparently using the first 2 to 3 Su-35s delivered to Egypt against their Rafales, and it turned out the Su-35's PESA is simply no match." Egypt recently tested the Su-35's Irbis-E radar against the electronic countermeasure system of one of its Rafale jets, and in Cooper's words, the latter easily overpowered the former. In February 2018, the Indonesian Defense Ministry had announced a $1.1 billion contract for the acquisition of 11 Russian Su-35 heavyweight fighters, with deliveries expected to begin by the end of 2019 and additional purchases considered likely. But the deal was abandoned. The move was confirmed by Indonesian Air Force Air Chief Marshal Fajar Prasetyo while speaking to the local media in Jakarta. He was quoted in January by Benar News as saying, "Regarding the Sukhoi Su-35, with a heavy heart yes, we have abandoned that plan. We can't just keep talking about it. Indonesia is now moving to upgrade its aging Air Force fleet with multi-billion-dollar orders from France and the United States. The agreement for 42 French Rafale fighters has been announced, which is worth $8.1 billion. Meanwhile, the Biden administration also approved the $13.9 billion sales of the F-15 advanced fighter jets, engines, and related equipment, including munitions and communication systems, to Indonesia. While some reports point to CATSA, Jakarta's initial order for the jets were made in early 2018, at least 6 months after CATSA became law. There are murmurs that Su-35 was evaluated to be technically inferior to Western options. Algeria, which is a major buyer of Russian jets and other military hardware for a long time, decided not to buy the Su-35 because it was dissatisfied by the fact that these aircraft still has a PESA rather than an AESA radar system. Earlier reports in Russian media indicated that negotiations were at an advanced stage. Among the official reasons for this refusal is that Algeria plans to strengthen its air force in other ways, which include the retrofitting of its current fleet of Su-30 Mka fighters with AL-41 engine and Irbis-E radar, as well as the possible purchase of a Russian Su-57. But the main reason for this deal to be abandoned is the absence of AESA radar. AESA is a more advanced, sophisticated, versatile second-generation version of the original PESA phased array technology. PESA can only emit a single beam of radio waves at a single frequency at a time. The PESA must utilize a Butler matrix if multiple beams are required. The AESA can radiate multiple beams of radio waves at multiple frequencies simultaneously and brings back more valuable information to its user. AESA radars can spread their signal emissions across a wider range of frequencies, which makes them more difficult to detect over background noise, allowing ships and aircraft to radiate powerful radar signals while still remaining stealthy, as well as being more resistant to jamming. Also, most frontline Western fighters, like Dassault Rafale and Eurofighter Typhoon, have AESA radar.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.